Hello and welcome to another update video about Dogecoin. Dogecoin did fall back into the channel, into this yellow ascending channel. Theoretically, as long as we're holding that, we can still focus on higher, but it's exactly at the level that I mentioned in the last video here, that if we get to that 8.18 cent level and break below the yellow channel, then we are in a larger correction. We're going to take a look at that. Primarily, I'm still looking here at lower. The yellow count is still my preferred count, where we moved up here off the June low in an ABC structure, and we're now coming down in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be ideal. Now we don't need to go down that low, but somewhere in this yellow area would be nice, between 5.5 and basically 2.5 cents. It's not possible to specify that further. If we come down into that area, then we would be moving in some kind of a diagonal pattern to the downside here. Bullish breakout possible. I did explain that in previous videos, that in terms of bullishness here, yes, of course, it could have bottomed out already, but you would then need to believe that you need an extremely bullish bias on the crypto market at the moment anyway. So if you believe that the low is already in for Bitcoin, Ethereum, that's something to follow. I don't see that yet. At least we do not have the evidence for it. So I would be extremely careful also here now. You know, we're still at a fairly low price, so the rally hasn't really started with Doge yet. So it could still start at some point. At the moment, there is just no evidence for it yet. And also the subwave structure is not really clearly impulsive. So we're going to talk about that as well. I'm going to show you a possible entry point for Doge if we... I'm going to show you a possible long entry point. But bear in mind that this is not really in line with the higher level scenario, where I still assume we will come down lower. Now, that doesn't really matter because you don't really necessarily want to trade what is expected, but where the risk is fairly low. So I'm going to show you a setup that I find possibly interesting. But it's still a fairly low confidence chart because it could already be in the breakout. So we have here the alternative on the chart, a 1-2 setup. Here another 1-2 setup. And then we would now be rallying in the wave 3, but it's just not strong enough for me yet. It's just not enough in terms of a signal. We create a possible first 1-2 setup here at the moment. And this is exactly where there is a possibility to scale in a support area. So, but it is not necessarily high confidence that it will hold. So primarily I'm still looking at lower. But in the short term, of course, we can have a long-term downtrend, but we can have a short-term uptrend, of course. So that's also what we could look at here. While I am still of the opinion that Bitcoin, Ethereum should eventually still go higher. So here, Doge has come down a little bit too much for a wave 4. So it's not an impulse anymore to the upside here. It could be a diagonal pattern. Yeah, possibly here in the C wave to the upside, or in a possible bullish breakout scenario, it could be a wave 1, but then a leading diagonal, but then I'm still missing a fifth wave. Yeah, I'm still missing a fifth wave. I mean, it could be. That's why sometimes it's a bit difficult to label those subwaves. There are two possible scenarios. I am only seeing 3 waves, but of course you could get away with saying, okay, maybe we had the 3 here, the 4 here, and then this was the 5. And then we had a wave 1 to the upside finished. Yeah, either the wave C finished or a wave 1 to the upside finished, and we're now coming down in a wave 2. So it could be that this is just the A wave. We're now going to come up in a B wave and then come down in C. So to get a clear trade setup, what I would like to see now this move complete, possibly as an A wave. If we then come higher, but do not really break out above the previous high, then the following move down could be ABC, a C wave. Yes, that would not be in line with the higher level scenario, the higher degree primary scenario, but still, if we see suddenly 3 waves down, is of course an area where, a long trade could be entered, and that would be most likely in the area, between 7.94 cents and 7.16. So between the 50% and the 78.6 retracement. I'm just warning about this setup because we have already come down quite far here. Yeah, so of course it could be this is already the wave 2. So having a buy order in this area might make sense for anybody who is bullish on Doge. I'm personally not, but it's a fairly low risk entry point. If you set the stop loss below the 78.6 retrace, maybe give it a little bit more space. We've seen a few fakeouts recently, but be aware that this could just be an A wave. We then move up in a B and still come down in C, but also C wave should ideally not break below the 78.6 fib. If it does, then it will most likely come down in the yellow C wave. So what makes this chart less reliable now as well is that we've come down so far. So this could be a wave 4 still, but in a diagonal. It's no trade I would take because of the uncertainty here. Yeah, this could just be a diagonal, but we're still missing a wave 5. And then we could come down an ABC. If we get the 5 up, even then it could only be the C wave. So there's so many uncertainties here. And therefore, strategically, I wouldn't do much. There are a few things. If we get the 5th wave still, then come down in ABC. That might be an entry point. If we move up in 3 waves now, make a high B wave, come down in C, that would also be a possible entry point. If we come down here straight away now, I'd be extremely careful because it indicates that wave C has started already. So that's sort of my thought process around this. And yeah, I mean, you need to understand, the lower level time frames, sometimes it doesn't make sense to label the waves. I still do it sometimes to show you because a lot of people want to know, but please always understand that those lower level wave patterns, they are sometimes unreliable, and some Elliott wave analysts don't label them at all because they can give you a wrong impression that something is going on. But in the end, sometimes if you don't have a very clear structure and it's not very clear, you will need to revise them in the end. Yeah, so be aware of that. But it's the point is here, you could now say I'm focusing on higher here generally with Doge, as long as the 78.6 retrace is holding, so the 7.16 cent level is also where I'm going to put this dotted line. And other than that, we are in the yellow wave C. If we break below 7.16 cents, it would indicate we're coming down now in the yellow wave C with a high probability. Yeah, and I guess a first real indication for that would already be a break of that ascending trend line as well. Yeah, so we'll see. That is going to be interesting. What's going to play out here in the next few days. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.